Hey, this is Thomas with Believe in the Run, and we got a special feature for you today because in-house we have Atreyu shoes and Michael from Atreyu, and Michael is the brains and the passion behind this new shoe. And I have to say, Michael, I tried it out this morning, and we'll get into it, but I'm impressed.
I appreciate that. It's good to know that people are out there running in them. It's been a long time coming to actually get users. You know, we've been in sample phase for a while, and now they're kind of making their way out to the people.
Yeah. So what got you started and decided, like, a lot of people would probably love to create their own running shoe or create something like this, but this is pretty hardcore that you were able to go out and start your own running shoe. Like, that takes a lot of brass tacks. Is it brass tacks or balls? Anyway, yeah, to go out there. So tell me, man, how did you start on this journey?
So I love long distance triathlon, and when I was training for my first Ironman, I was going through a lot of shoes. I had some shoes that I fell in love with, and then they were discontinued, and I just started to develop feelings about these things. I wanted things at the right time, and I wanted the products that I loved, and they would all often be discontinued. So I just started thinking about a solution to the market and people like me who like consistent products, who want something that I come from the methodology of less is more. I'm kind of a minimalist, and so I just got to reverse engineering what I thought would it take to make the shoe, and I spent about a year doing homework and research and figuring out everything I could about every company, how they make their shoes, what's the process, and lo and behold, I just it's been a journey. It's a lot. It's kind of a mentally, I don't often know how it got here, because now I have a shoe on my foot and on your foot.
Yeah.
That it just like, if you go from point A to point B, there was a lot of moves to get there. But,
Yeah. And I apologize, we are doing this live, and we happen to be in an office environment that has an open ceiling plan. Don't know why. But so you might be getting some feedback or hearing people in other places. So if we need to speak up, leave a comment, and Robbie, just tell us that we need to speak up. But I will say, I love some certain things about this shoe, and one of them is, you're right, it is a minimalist shoe. Like, when I say minimalist, it isn't like your natural running shoe feel. What it is that you have a simple EVA midsole, you have this one-piece upper, simple tongue, simple lacing. There's no gimmicks in here. There's not a ton of overlays. There's not a lot of other stuff. This is a really simple shoe that gets the job done, and it's light. For my size 10.5, what was it, like 6 point something ounces, 6.3? Yeah, I just did it at 181 grams. And then for a size 5, we just did a size 9, you weighed that. Well, what did that come in at?
It's 5.47, 5.5, 5.5 ounces for a men's size 9.
6 millimeter drop. You know, it has enough cushioning for that great feel. This reminds me a lot, and I know you've heard this before, the original Kinvara, that kind of feel. It's really smooth, really light, enough cushioning for the run. Fit on the upper, no issues at all. Like, I would think that's the scary thing in starting a shoe, is that you nail down, even to make a simple shoe, fit right and to ride. Like, it's pretty impressive that out of the gate, you have a shoe that's really usable. Like, I would use this. I mean, I used Kinvara for a marathon. I could use something like this. I know Rory, who's one of your athletes, he's going to Olympic trials, and he's wearing this shoe, right?
Yeah. He called me up one day, and there's a shoe on the market that, you know, everybody's using, and he said, I've been training in the Atreyu. I'm ready to race in it. It feels good. I do all my tempo workouts in it, and I was, let's do it. Let's start making it happen.
Yeah. What is his time again for the marathon?
Rory's got, I think it's 2:17 at Grandma's.
2:17 in this shoe?
I believe. And don't quote me on that. I might be a minute off, but yeah, he's 2:17. He hasn't done that. We're trying to best his marathon PR. So the trials will be the first full distance marathon that he's running. I've done a full marathon in him at the end of an Ironman triathlon. So
And how'd your feet feel after?
Great.
All right. And Rachel Baptista, she's also running in these?
She hasn't run in them yet because I'm designing her. Rachel has. She's pronation, right? We call her old Flatfoot. Yeah. But I'm trying to work out a little bit of a silicone rail on the like a stage 2 model that would incorporate some type of stability for her because she enjoys that. So we're going to start prototyping on top of this model. Yeah. So think of this as a base model, and then prospectively we'll add a guide rail style system.
And like we were talking about the exposed EVA on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It was raining here in Baltimore this morning. I ran on bricks, on wood. There's a lot of decking along the harbor, on the street and on sidewalks. I didn't have any problems with traction or slipping. And I mean, you can barely see. It was a little 5-mile run, but I don't even see any wear on the outsole for right now. Now these shoes, you're specifically designing them for a certain purpose. These are not shoes that you're going to be getting 300, 400 miles in. And the price is going to reflect that.
Correct.
And the way that you're selling them is going to reflect that.
Definitely.
So why don't you talk a little bit about how these shoes are going to get on people's feet?
Absolutely. So the biggest drive into creating the company and the idea was the idea of a subscription-based shoe. For dedicated runners like myself, like yourself, we run specific intervals, whether we're training or we have a race coming up, and I thought it would be excellent to be able to forecast when we need shoes and be able to get fresh shoes at the point of when we need them, whether they be 1, 2, 3, or 4 months. And so I would automatically send a shoe. So really built the product around that idea. How do you optimize a recurring shipment-based shoe? Well, I would take all the redundant BS off the shoe, and I would take all the the heavy like TPR, rubber bottom, just get rid of it, and then treat the EVA with a hardening component, like a rubberizing outsole grade EVA hardening component, and basically enhance the shoe for lightweight, take all the stuff that makes it heavy or built to last extremely long periods. A lot of times, like I'll see people, there's the visual test in the shoe, like you can look at it and you think, oh, okay, I could wear that.
Looks like
but
a running
then the
shoe.
midsole is completely dead. So people come into run stores all the time and they have these completely flat out midsoles and it still looks like a usable shoe. The goal was to create a shoe for optimized finite period of time. I like mine around 150 miles, and I would opt in to get a fresh pair roughly around the time I would Delta.
And it's kind of, I mean, we discussed it, there's kind of a 2 model thing going here because there's like 2 sides to it. One would be kind of like, this would be like Shave Club or Razor. What's the one where you get the new Razor all the time? So you'd be subscribing, and at a lower price, you're getting a fresh running shoe all the time. Now, nobody wants the same running shoe all the time, so we also talked about somewhat like Gooder did for sunglasses, where they took what you needed in a sunglass, put it at a price point that if you destroyed them or went through them, you weren't miserable, you felt like you got your money's worth, and you're ready to buy another pair. Not that these were going to fall apart or be destroyed, but what we're talking about is how it, now I'm subscribed. What are we doing with the look and feel of the shoe now that I'm a subscriber? Because I like this shoe. I want this shoe to come back to me. I don't really need any changes to the shoe. I'm sure you're going to source changes out from here time to time on user feedback, but what's going to make me excited about getting a new shoe?
Yeah, so right off the bat, incorporating some technical design elements that I think were appropriate. So, for example, the tongue is a micro felt, and that's also the lining, and it's also the pull tab. So it really makes it economical to be able to produce a shoe with as few materials as possible. So we were very deliberate on which ones we chose. I'm
pretty much talking about style.
Oh yeah, and so what? And the reason that that's special is because at the core of this shoe, it's a white shoe. And you can dye the midsole.
Show them the one on your foot.
All right, so I'll just take it off.
There you go. It's hard to get off.
And so we'll be able to do crazy prints and colors and team colors and everything like that. I really want to design crazy graphics all over the shoe. I'm particular about the underdog story. I'm particular about motivation myself. I always seem to have, I think I have tattoos all over me of kind of like, don't give up, do the thing that is hard, through pain comes pleasure, things like that. But we'll be able to change the designs every bulk order that we make. So,
and that's what I was thinking, like Gooder, you've skimmed out all the stuff to make it affordable. And then on top of it, it's going to look unique, it's going to look fun, because these uppers are basically you can print anything you want on them and make it any colors you want. The foam is dyeable, as you can see. You've got yellow midsole, blue midsole. I think you have a white midsole on the
other one. So my brother, he actually drew this face, and we came up with Fear Only Regret. This is the Keep Going, the Battle Lies Within Voyager model. This is a Voyager satellite, particularly because the Voyager mission is incredible. It's one of the greatest things that humanity has done.
Voyager.
Yeah, so it's like, it's a great way to kick this thing off. But yeah, I like the idea of having motivate, almost like Gooder does. They name their glasses, they have a theme to each one. So add a motivational component to it, and then you have our design.
Yeah. You have a question, Robbie?
There's a lot of questions.
All right, let's get some questions.
Yeah, so first off, because a couple people asked this, when will the subscription start, and at what price point are we looking at?
Sure. So there's two waves. One is the pre-sale, starts February 21st from AtreyuRunning.com. Pre-sales, you can reserve shoes in the first order.
And that link's in the description.
And that says that we have a limited supply of shoes coming in. They'll be in June, and we're going to ship them out July 1st. So make sure you reserve one from that order. It's going to help us make the second order. It's almost like a Kickstarter, but we just want to get the ball rolling. Yeah. Subscriptions officially launch July 1st when that order is coming in, and then we can start to scale and go on from there.
Now, say someone doesn't want to commit to a subscription right off the bat, or they subscribe and decide, this isn't for me. What are the options?
Cancel anytime. No brainer. You can get it, send it back, no problem. Refund, whatever.
And you were talking about every package goes out with a return label in it.
Yep.
So if you don't like the shoe, send it back. You're going to make sure the shoe ends up on somebody who wants it, not, who's in need.
Yeah.
So that's your, even the shoes that you do like and love and you wear for 200, 300 miles, you're going to put back in the envelope, send it back to Mike, and he's going to make sure it ends up, in a recycle program.
Yeah, so it will offer single purchases on the website. They'll be at a higher price point at $95. That's what we would call our retail price point. You'll have the option to join the subscription program, and you'll be able to get those at a cheaper price. I'll just go ahead. It'll be $75. And so the reason that price is because the first time I got a New Balance 1400 one time for $75, and I about lost my mind. and I was like, that emotional connection to that was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's
also
it's low,
for you, it's low, but it helps you with, you're cutting out a lot of the costs in not having to market the shoes in the traditional way, not having to send salespeople into the stores, like just the savings of not having to have this in the hands of a shoe rep walking door to door is probably going to save the consumer a lot of money. And I will tell you, I'm really impressed with the shoe, and I'm not just saying that because Michael's here with me. I feel like that price point for this shoe is a good price point. Like,
it's good to
under $100 for a shoe like this. I mean, when the Kimbara came out, it was around that. I think it was like $90.
Oh, the original Kimbara was that low? Oh,
it was around. It's kept creeping up, and it's only 110 now, or 120, I think. But it started off at that price point, and it really became a favorite of people who liked to go faster, who wanted something that they could run a little faster. Now, I don't think this is just for a speed person. I think that a regular, everyday trainer is going to enjoy the shoe. They're really going to enjoy the light feel. But I do think it's a shoe that you can definitely race in.
That's cool, because I'm a middle of the pack runner. One of the beauties about doing long distance triathlon is that it's about endurance and not necessarily about speed. I'll probably never be elite. I'll try and I'll train, but I put a lot of slow miles on the shoe and a lot of time on it, and I've been training in it for a year. Anywhere between 7.5 to 9.5. I
Okay.
mean, it's just depending on the day. So I'll do some serious bulk miles in it. But then again, Rory goes out and does. He'll go peel off a 430 or 420 every once in a while. It's just like, whoa, that's ridiculous.
That is
I don't even
ridiculous.
understand.
All right, Robbie, you got another
Yep.
question?
Yes. What's the stack height?
Stack height is 6 millimeter drop. It's got a 15.5 front and a 21.5 back, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just call it 22/16.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
variations in.
And don't let that
manufacturing.
confuse you, though, because that would be synonymous with something like a Boston. But it doesn't feel that way. Would you agree?
I felt it has a very natural feel. I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty almost flat here. It's got a 100 millimeter toe lip. You said, like a toe
Yep.
spring coming off. So it does have a nice rounded feel through the stride. I felt that I was like I am a midfoot striker, and where I land on this shoe
Kind of
felt
partial to it
really
at the
good.
time.
Yeah, it rolled through my stride really well. It doesn't feel like a drop. It feels like a more natural feel.
Any plans on a carbon plate version since everybody's doing that?
We were actually talking about this yesterday. I designed one on the plane ride to Baltimore, and
From Austin.
I have a sentiment. I think we share sentiments about it. I think that
Not every shoe needs a plate.
not every shoe needs a plate, and a plate is not necessarily healthy for the foot, especially during bulk training. I think that some type of mechanism to be able to yield a higher cadence or to help with like a late stage pronation or something would be beneficial. But what's the most important, in my humble opinion, about a race shoe, which is where we would put all of our design elements in incorporating a race shoe into the lineup, would be the density of the foam. Perhaps a lower density shoe with a higher stack height that would yield a product that would essentially provide less fatigue on the foot in a best case scenario. So optimizing that, but it wouldn't last as long. It would be, I kind of envision a 50 or 60 mile shoe that wouldn't have a plate in it. It might have the plate would kind of keep the resiliency of the foam together. But
I mean, my feeling is like everybody's trying. Like we have a great plated shoe, the Vaporfly,
Of course.
and every other company is trying to do their version of it. It's the Soup du Jour, and I can't help but think like we are not going to stay in this plate shoe frenzy for too long. It's a trend. And
Yeah.
we're going to see it come through. Somebody's going to figure out. Nobody's trying to innovate right now. They're trying to duplicate. Once somebody figures out how to make that shoe run fast without the plate, other ways to get there, I think we're going to see another opening. I really hope some of the shoe companies out there, including yours, look at that and say, hey, copycatting, that shoe is out there. We don't need to copycat that or make that shoe. What I need to do is there a better mousetrap? Is there a better way to do it than?
I think there
Yeah.
is. I know that there is, and I know that the plate doesn't yield the performance that everybody thinks that it does. It's mostly about the low density.
Zoom X.
It's about the Zoom X. It's about that super low density where you can absorb the impact over the course of a race on the foot.
Robbie, you got another?
Is there a potential opportunity for limited release runs of certain patterns or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
so that's going to be a big part of the model, and that's something I'm very excited to release over time. I'm a little bit of an artist, and there's a selfish component to it, which is 100% being able to provide crazy design elements and working with clubs and teams and providing limited editions. I come from the music industry background, and there were always limited edition vinyls, limited edition, releases. I'm going to have metallic laces and all kinds of crazy things that are going to be offered as for subscribers that make sense over time. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Maybe someday there will be a limited edition Believe in the Run
You damn right.
model. I mean, I like this shoe enough that I'd be happy to put our logo on it.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe just like one more question.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
from Jared. So,
Is it coming in wide? We just talked about this.
It's actually.
Okay. It's actually, I think that's something important to bring up, though.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Jarrett chimed in because there you are having plans to make a couple variations to the platform.
So as a startup company, there's been many challenges. One is how comprehensive do we make the line for the initial launch? Mm-hmm. And I put a lot of thought into it, and we came across what is to be a unisex lasted shoe. And we're going to find points over time to fill in where we need a wide and a narrow, depending on user feedback.
So this would be your middle shoe,
mm-hmm.
and you're saying that you would create one that's a little more narrow and one that's a little more wide.
I envision what's called a size matrix, where it's essentially you pick your unisex size and you do narrow, standard, wide, and we'll start to fill in those gaps over time. And that's one of the beauty of keeping the design simple and kind of taking all the redundancies off of it, is that all we do is open up tooling on a new last or a new mold. It won't be a new last, so it'll be. I actually have to confirm that, but we'll just start opening up molds on different varying widths.
Yeah, I don't think you well, I guess you would. Yeah, never mind. I won't try to get into the design part. But what is Jared's question after all?
He just wanted to ask, and this is. I told him it's not 60 minutes, Jared. It's just. He asked, "What's the hardest part about starting a running shoe company when there's like so many huge players out there?"
The hardest part. Let me think about that before I answer.
You can think about it.
Yeah,
I can do filler. I can dance.
I think that
no dancing. Robbie just said no dancing.
I said last night that one of the beauties of not knowing, of being a student of the industry primarily, has been that I get to pick expertise that I work with. Finding that expertise was very difficult. Finding the right people, the right help, the right supply chain connections and everything there was definitely a learning curve. But I do not plan on trying to fit into the original mold. Everybody kind of goes through the same chain of command and everything. And when you're rewriting the script on how you would launch a company, there's creative ways to go about it. And one of which is supply chain, one of which is being able to build a simple model. But
you did your homework and you went after stuff. And one thing, it's
a difficult one.
Michael's a hustler. Like, we met on the floor of the running event. I don't even know how he got in there. He had a backpack on. He stops Robbie and I and says, "Hey, I'm Michael. I know Jameson. I'm here in Austin. Can I show you guys something?" And we were like, "Oh, what a weirdo. What is he going to pull out of this bag, like a head or something?"
Yeah.
And he pulls out the shoes he was wearing earlier, pulls them out, and he hands them to Robbie and I, and we're like, "Holy crap, this is a cool shoe." And then we started to talk to him, and we're like, "Oh, he's one of those crazy genius kids." And like, I wholeheartedly believe that you have the hustle and drive to turn this into something. I do think, there's obviously challenges in the industry. If someone wanted to make this shoe who's established, Skechers or Brooks or Nike or whatever, they could make this shoe. Mm-hmm. So it's really going to come down to how you build the brand and how people connect with you as a brand and what they get from that. And people, I think that we talked about it, and I don't want to give away all the secrets of our conversation last night, but you have a plan for making this a community and making this something special. Mm-hmm. And I gotta tell you, you got me pumped up. I'm excited to see what you do. I'm excited to see how this grows, and support this as far as how we can show it. This is actually, like, I would take this to the companies that are messing up shoes and be like, this is how simple it is. Simple bottom, simple upper. It feels great under your foot.
I would go as far as to say that the second point of that question is the idea that there are so many areas that can be improved upon. And I see the areas of improvement as opposed to, I know for a fact that anybody could come back and out-tech, out-everything, out-supply, out-fund a new startup company. And those are the challenges. They're mental challenges. They're crazy because I meet so many people that say, like, how are you going to go up against these people? Well, I'm not going up against them. We're addressing primarily some of the fluff and we're gonna
like
cut.
Warby
We're gonna
Parker.
trim the fat. Yeah,
It's
trim
like
the fat and be able
yeah.
to create an alternative to a market that caters to people who want honest products, that wants to dictate their schedule and want to focus on running. I primarily want to focus on running and everything around it, recovery. There's so much beautiful, ideas that you can take a look at that aren't even merely the shoes. There's being a part of a brand that wants to listen to you, and I'm very passionate about taking feedback from everybody ongoing.
Yeah, Warby Parker was another brand that I thought of when you're into this.
Mm-hmm.
That, they also cut out some of the BS in the industry.
Yeah.
And other
did.
slowly the ships are turning. There's some major
Mm-hmm.
manufacturers trying to get into the game that they're doing. But I think that is another opportunity and when people think about, well, I'm just a little guy, how am I going to compete? The thing is that there's no obstacles in doing it yourself that there are in a corporate world.
Right.
In a corporate world, you have to convince the bosses. You have to do this. You have to go through.
It's all
you have to have
opportunity
meetings.
for
You can have 20 meetings on whether or not this makes sense. You're going to bring a prototype in. You're going to have 100 people say what they think about it. All those obstacles, and it's a philosophy that we believe in with our business, is to get the S done. And we talked about that. You said it last night. My face lit up because that's what it is. Like, if you have a let's get shit done attitude, everything else falls into place.
Sure.
And it's either going to work or it's not going to work.
Agreed.
But you could sit at home and worry about going up against the competition, or you could just do it.
Yeah, simplicity is the key to happiness and success. That's what one of my old mentors used to tell me and hammered it into me, and I firmly believe in it. So the opportunity of simplicity is so vast.
Yeah. Rob, you got any other questions?
That's it.
All right, cool.
Rockin'.
Look, we're going to be putting more miles on the shoes. So far, I'm really pleased with it. I would not lie to you. You know that. And thrilled to have Michael visit us here in Baltimore. I think we're going to see big things from this guy. And, whether it's, this blows up or it's something else, Michael's a hustler.
You got it, man.
It's going to happen.
His site and Instagram are in the description.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wait 1 second while we
the
get the vacuum out.
Dyson.
So if you want, check him out. His link is to Instagram is in the description of this video. His link to his website's in the description of this video. Any other things you want to plug while you're here?
If you like this idea, I'd be humbled if you gave it a shot. Join. If you go to AtreyuRunning.com, there's an opportunity for a mailing list. I don't like to spam out mail. I'm going to be very deliberate about that. So I'd be humbled if you join that list. And on February 21st, I'll provide a code for you for a discount for an opportunity to get one of the first shoes. So AtreyuRunning.com and at Atreyu Running on social media. I just hope that if you like it, you come along.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Thank you.